I'm recording. Hi. So yeah, SSF day 6. This is the harder Arbiter fight, and as you can tell, he pretty much just melted. So yeah, this build's probably not going to stay. Next league, it's probably going to be gone. I'm pretty sure that you will be swinging the nerf hammer. I'm gonna briefly talk about the build, what it can accomplish, and generally how you can get the items you need. So this is on SSF. This is SSF Rise of the Abyssal. I started 6 days ago, a fresh start, because I was pretty confident that this build would do very well. I at least started Hollow Palm because Hollow Palm has a lot of basically free scaling all the way into maps, and it's it's RNG independent, right? You could pretty much run Hollow Palm and it doesn't matter what drops you get, you're gonna have enough damage to just go to maps by 15 hours. So I did Hollow Palm, and then I shifted to Quarterstaffs because I felt that it was quite comfortable and I had some items for it. And then I started building up the bow character. First thing I did on the staff build is to start building armor sets. So I got this chest armor here. What I did was I used the Abyssal Corrupted mod Omen, and then Unveiled. I did it twice. The first one was complete garbage, the second one actually landed. So the unveils are in order, so you start with the top, the first few selections. And because the first few selections were good, what I did next was to Omen the third prefix, right? And I lucked out and got T2. So 2.1k evasion chest, and then the remaining 3 I didn't bother with omens because honestly speaking suffixes don't matter as much for chest armor. So then I got this and then also these armor pieces. I got all the armor pieces on the Quarterstaff character and eventually started to craft for bows. So crafting of bows is pretty straightforward as well, pretty deterministic now in the current patch. What you do is you get hybrid fizz and any suffix or the magic, and then you essence for the flat physical. So this flat physical here is essence, right? Then after you essence for the flat physical, it's going to be a rare. What you want to do next is, if you can afford it, right, you can unveil, add a desecrate mod to the prefix. Unfortunately, desecrate mods to prefixes are generally hard to come by. You're actually more likely to come by the the essence and the bases far more easily. So I would suggest not doing that. What I would suggest doing is you exalt for suffix, right? You use an omen, or you just RNG it because it's 2 out of 3 to hit a suffix, right? And then if you land a suffix, you will have equal amount of prefixes and suffixes, 2-2, and then you have a good chance of just desecrating. It's 50-50, right? You desecrate either suffix or prefix, and you should have enough of these currencies to desecrate. And then after you do that, you unveil, and you honestly don't need an omen because if it fails, you just restart from scratch on a new base. But in this case here, I got, after like I think 8 or 9 tries, I got it on the Gemini bow. I got 150% fizz, and I just happened to have attack speed on the suffix. So I filled it with crit chance and dex. So I exalted it. I exalted the remaining suffix for dex, and then I used the essence for 4 level of attack skills, the perfect essence, and then the bow is complete, right? Could I get a better bow? Probably. Might take a long while. I think this is as good as it gets. Might need like a week or so to farm to get actually an upgrade. So I'm pretty much gonna leave it as it is. I don't think I'll find something else. Rings are pretty straightforward. All the rings, helm and gloves and boots, are almost always you're going to pick up bases and then greater op of transmute and then augmentation, and then if you land 2 prefix and suffix that you like, decent rolls, you would just slam a res or rarity depending on what you have, and then start filling empty slots, right? Eventually you want to desecrate one of these slots, and then just generally how you make it more predictable or more deterministic. Same thing with amulet, pretty much all that. Just you always pick up bases and you always slam with greater augs and greater transmute. What's different about this build compared to what I see in softcore, in trade, is that I don't know why in trade people don't focus on defenses. This build already has insane single target. Right now, if you look at what items I have, you can pretty much accomplish this easily on trade. So you honestly don't need more damage. You need more tankiness. And I think the way you solve for tankiness on this build is you want as high evasion as possible. So you can probably hit 65 to 70% easily. And next, you want about 50% block. And so how do you get 50% block? And you get 50% block by using a rear guard. So rear guard is pretty unique. It's the only quiver that gives you block, pretty much. Bows usually don't get block, but with rear guard you do. And block has kind of gotten buffed because you don't want to get the 75% anymore, you want to get 50. And the 50 block that you get is pretty much the Warbringer block, right? You get 50 block for everything except the rear attack skills on bosses. And so how do you get 50 block with a quiver? And the answer is you're going to invest in these nodes. You're going to invest in quiver effect, right? Quiver effect here, and then the block nodes here. And with that, you should hit 49 to 50. You might need an extra one more node if you want exactly 50. But yeah, pretty straightforward. If this was 25%, I'll probably hit it earlier. You won't even need maybe all the block nodes. I'm not too sure. I've got to check. But yeah. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points, you get pretty much 50% chance to avoid all damage. And that's really, really good in maps. And then at 50% is also considering the fact that you do have evasion. So you have 50% and then you have 60%. So the chance enemies get to hit you is 66. So let's say 35 remaining, 70.5% chance they actually hit you, right? I think. I mean, roughly, right? And with that, you have really, really solid defenses as a result. You also have deflection, so even if the hits go through, you have a 50% chance to reduce it by 40%. Yeah, super good. You can get max EHP up to maybe about 4k. I've gotten up to 2k. You can get 4k as in like 1.8k to 2k life, and then at least 2k ES. I think it's possible on trade. On SSF is a bit harder. I would say that it's almost there for me. I don't think it can get better unless I really spend a lot of time getting like rings with life on them. For example, like 100 life rings, and yeah, maybe amulet without crit chance or something. I don't know, although that's a suffix. But yeah, the reason why, okay, most of the time when you have hybrid life and ES, it's actually considered not that great. You have most people would rely on recharge to get the ES back or Ghost Dance, but the problem with Ghost Dance is that when you're running on maps that have like Burning Ground, you're pretty much, your EHP is halved, right? Because your Burning Ground is pretty much going to bring your ES down to 0, and then your life is like 1.5 to 2, right? It's not that much. So your max EHP drops to half. With Pathfinder, you have pretty solid recovery, and you have pretty solid recovery because not only you have high evasion, not only you have high evasion, you you also can use Ghost Dance on the high evasion to get ES back on hit, and then also you have chevrons, right? So chevron says life recovery of Flask also applies to energy shield. Normally this limits you to just instant Flask, which is kind of peg because instant Flask only recover like 300 or something. So 30% of recovery apply instantly. If you had an instant belt here, it would be like maybe 50% total. So like you get 450 heal, life and ES per press, which works as a very nice oh shit button, but I think it's like kind of meh, right? With chevrons on Pathfinder, you can pretty much get this notes, right? So life Flask effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled, and life Flask effects do not queue. So what it does is that you can still press your life Flask even if your life is full, and that will still recharge your ES, right? And then that's not just the flat portion also, not just the instant portion, but also like the total recovery, right, over 3 seconds. You can also get, like, instead of instant, you can probably get a Flask that just heals a fuck ton, like maybe a like 1.7k heal Flask, 3 seconds, 600 per second is quite nice. It's just that you don't have the ability to spam it if you're in trouble, right? So you can do that. But yeah, really strong recovery mechanic, and then really strong defenses. Or not to mention also, if you go Pathfinder, you can go for sustainable practices. So we covered this last league with the shield charge Pathfinder. If you have 70%, 2% alleviate damage reduction against hits, unfortunately it's applied before resistances. But at the same time, it allows you to pretty much do like maps that give you negative res. So negative max res, Ali pen, This is pretty much a really solid defensive layer against that, because you're going to mitigate the same amount from this as you know, because the rest is taken afterwards. So the rest equations comes after. So it doesn't really matter what your res is, you're still going to mitigate the same amount with this, right? So really good. So yeah, clear is pretty straightforward. You're going to drop Toxic Growth, and then you're going to pop the Toxic Growth with your Poisonburst. Toxic Growth has self-clearing mechanic, so you have Deadly Poison along with Bursting Plague and Poison 3 and Magnified. The Bursting Plague that can poison pretty much self-proliferates itself, and so that makes it really, really strong. I might actually just de-level this. I get have a lot perfect. I'll probably like make a level 3 one and then try it with level 3 if it's still possible, because I don't think this needs to be leveled. And yeah, that's for clear, right? For single target, you just saw me do like maybe about 12, 13 mil DPS, really, really fast. And then what's happening here is you're dropping a Vine Arrow, and then you're poisoning the Vine Arrow. Make sure the Vine Arrow is in front of the boss, right? It's not behind the boss, because then your Flask don't shotgun. So you put the thing in front of the boss, in between you and the boss. Make sure it's really close to the boss, and then you poison burst the boss. The moment you poison burst the boss and everything turns green, you start spamming your Flask. Okay, when you spam your Flask, you're basically gonna nuke the boss for the remaining poison duration on the Vine Arrows, except that it does not exhaust the poison on the Vine Arrow. So normally with the boss, it removes the poison off the boss, but with the Vine Arrow, it does not. So you're basically doing 2 times the damage, but at the attack speed of your Flask, with the caveat that you can only do that as long as you do have Flask to spam this, right? And if you have the Udens is the amulet that gives you +1 the limit, you can actually shotgun for 3, because you have 3 Vine Arrows instead of 2. So right now in SSF I only have 2. I can increase the DPS by about 50% if I have that amulet, but unfortunately I don't. So yeah, I've gone for more defensive options on my amulet instead. Alright, what else is there? So that's for single target. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's some variability to some setups. You could, Mason's doing his own version of this. Well, not his own version. It's very similar. We both discussed this build like day 3 of the league or something, because we spotted something quite interesting, some direction quite interesting. We found the originator of the build, so it was this Korean guy, SDF or something. And then I think Mason pinged him to ask him about. We actually theory crafted the build. We back engineered this build. We were looking at his profile and going like, I think I know how this is, what he's doing, right? And then we asked him a couple questions and we figured out the rest by asking him. Or rather, we confirm our suspicions, right? The Vine Arrow poisons were shotgunning. Yeah. Anyway, Mason will do his own setup. You probably will do Plague Bearer instead of Ghost Dance. I think his focus is not so much on tankiness. I just like my build to just be completely brain dead. I don't want to play like super well. I just want to run into stuff, and if I fuck up, I don't die all the time. So Ghost Dance and such amazing defenses is kind of just my thing. But Mason's probably going to do a more clear speed-oriented setup with Plague Bearer. So you look at his profile, look at his video whenever he publishes it. And he's probably going to do a full progression guide. I'm not so keen. I'm not so keen mainly because I think that a full progression guide on this is kind of pointless, because I think this will be gone by next league. Like, there's no way this stays after 0.30. I'm pretty sure GG just nerfs the interaction, because Vine Arrow being able to just be spammed is not... I would think it's not intended. Maybe the shotgun is allowable, but not the... definitely not the spam. Definitely not just flasking non-stop just to AoE explode stuff and shotgun stuff. I don't think that's intended, but yeah. So yeah, but he will do a full guide on like X and leveling and stuff all the way through, because he didn't sorry, Mason just logged on. He didn't go holopalm. He just went full bows, full poison right off the bat from the start. I think his clear for X is the same as mine, although I would say that he's younger guy, so he probably plays way more efficiently than I do. But still, 15 hours for us both is really, really good. Yeah. I think he's wait, I think his was like 13. He said he AFK quite a bit. 12 or 13, I can't remember. Although 12 or 13, it seems kind of sus, to be honest. it's too I don't think it's that low, right? I'm pretty sure Ben clears it in 13 or 14 hours or 12 hours or something. Yeah. Anyway, young people, man. Okay, so with the Flask thing, right? I don't really have a good Flask at the moment. You can probably get one that has like increased charges, and get like 110 charges to spam. But what I have here is just about as good. And what I'm doing here is I'm making the Flask way more efficient. So on the skill tree on the passive tree, this interaction has always existed. I did a Flask shattering concoction Pathfinder in like 0.10. And what I did was, normally a Flask costs like, okay, so normally a Flask costs 5, right? Acid Flask costs 5 to press, right? Down here, it's only costing 3, right? And it's only costing 3. Wait, is it 3? Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's 3. It's only costing 3 because you're going these 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got way more uses out of this. It's basically, Mason says he doesn't need it because he's got 20 presses of the Flask, but I'll be honest here, I tend to fuck up like a lot. Alright, I'm not gonna do the fights perfectly. So I want some like leeway, you know, some buffer for me fucking up. So I'm gonna throw like a couple of Flasks and realize, oh crap, it's not doing the optimal DPS, it's just my vines are not placed correctly. And so yeah, so I've gone for this instead. It's 5 points, yes, but it's a lot more sustained, a lot less punishing in boss fights itself. Yeah. Anyway, alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is probably going to be the end of my SSF journey. I'll still play this just for fun, but I won't actually have to do anything in it at this point. Arbiter, you know, the higher tier Arbiter is literally the pinnacle content to gun for. If you can do that like without much difficulty, you pretty much made it. You know, I don't need to show a Zesh for it's an easier fight. You know, that's what I mean. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna drop the POB so you can like read what I've done. You can see what I've done. Try to copy as much as possible on the gear and all that. But yeah, if you have any questions, just ask in the comment section. I will reply, and then I'll try to clarify things for you guys. Wait, let me just ID this. It's probably gonna be garbage, but you know, I never know. Ooh, level 3 glacial lance. Wow. Well, but it's a spear. Scaling's like kind of. Anyway, see you guys. I'm out. Bye.